we will break for a while so that we can tackle yung Senate Joint Resolution number 12, authorizing the use of the excess collection of the Bureau of Customs for the year 2020 and 2019 under the rice tariffication law as cash assistance for the rice farmers to be included in the General Appropriations Act of 2021. We should not be surprised that at 10:30 we will hold another meeting to tackle this resolution so that that will be included in the 2021 GAA, that we will give the excess of the collection of tariff of the rice tariffication law that will be given to RCEP. The excess will be used for financial assistance to our rice farmers. So that's it. So we will now start with the proposed budget, 2021 budget of the Department of Agriculture. And so we have here, we wish to acknowledge the presence of Secretary William Dar, okay, and Undersecretary for Policy and Planning, Rodolfo Vicera, okay, Undersecretary for Livestock, National Livestock Development Program, Dr. William Medrano, Andrew Villacorta, Assistant Secretary for the Visayas, Attorney Hansel O. Didolo, Assistant Secretary for Special Affairs, Larry A. Panes, OIC Director of Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service, Ramon C. Yedra, represented by Rowena Hinete. Okay, Chief Budget Division, Telma Tolentino, Senior Special Technical Assistant, National Corn Program, Dr. Lorenzo Caringan, Officer in Charge, Program Director, High Value Crop Program, Nichols A. Manalo. Why? What happened to Mrs. Lavinia? What happened to Mrs. Lavinia, Dr. Dar? Secretary Dar? Hindi tayo madinig?
Nakaano po tayo?
Secretary Dar?
Opo, ma'am. Nandito si Yusek Lavinia at she's the Yusek for high value crops.
But what do you mean by officer in charge? We have another one in charge of high value crop o assistant na Yusek Lavinia?
Ito yung program director ng high value crops.
Okay.
Hindi siya OIC po.
Okay. Director National Organic Agriculture Program, Bernadette San Juan. Program Management Director, Rice Resiliency Program, Dr. Dionisio Alvindia. And Program Director, Special Area for Agricultural Development, Dr. Meyer Mula. Philippine Rubber Research Institute, Dr. Dennis Palabrica. OIC Director, Internal Audit Service, Attorney Joan Hagonos Oliva. Head ASEP Program Management Secretariat, Attorney Jane C. Bacayo. OIC Director, Information and Communication Technology Service, Honorio Flamenio. And Head Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund Program Management Secretariat, Attorney Jane C. Bucayo. And Director, Agriculture and Training Institute, Alfred S. Aton. Okay. Director, Philippine, and Regional Executive Director, Ilocos Region, Nestor Dumenden. Region Director, Region 2, Narciso Edilio. Director, Region 3, Crispulo Bautista Jr., Director. Region 4A, Arnel V. De Mesa, Director, Western Visayas, Region 6, Remeli Ricoter. Director, Region 7, Attorney Salvador Diputado. Director, Region 8, Angel C. Enriquez. Director, Region 9, Radan Sideño. Director, Region 10, Carlin Collado. And Director, Region 13, Caraga, Abel James Monteagudo. And Regional Director, Region 5, Rodel Tornilla. Assistant Secretary for Finance, Attorney Francisco Villano. Undersecretary for High Value Crops and Rural Credit, Evelyn Labiña. Undersecretary for Operation and Agri-Fisheries Mechanization, Engineer Ariel Kayanan. Undersecretary and Chief of Staff, Cheryl Marie Natividad Caballero. OIC BFAR Director and Concurrent Assistant Director for Operation, Dr. Juan Albalyadejo. And OIC Director, Bureau of Soils and Water Management, Sonia M. Salguero. Director, Financial and Management Service, Miriam Roberta Cornelio. Assistant Director, Bureau of Agricultural Research, Digna Sandoval. Assistant Secretary Designate for Policy Research Service, Noel A. Padre. Okay, so that's it. So we have a sequence of presentation. We have the first is the DA Office of the Secretary, then the banner programs, which include National Rice Program, National Organic Agriculture Program, National Livestock Program, National Corn Program, High Value Crop Development Program, Market Development Service, and Halal Food Industry Development Program. Then we have the bureaus. We have the Agricultural Training Institute, Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Engineering, Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Standard, Bureau of Animal Industry, Bureau of Agricultural Research, Bureau of Plant Industry, Bureau of Soil and Water Management, Philippine Rubber Research Institute, and then the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. I just want to ask the Senator if you want that we finish all the presentation before you ask question, or while we are presenting, we can ask questions.
Chair? Madam
you-
Chair?
Yes.
Ako, we can finish muna with all the presentations. Pero gano'ng
yeah.
kahaba ho ba yung mga presentation nila?
Marami to eh. Baka we have to do questions na one on each program kasi kung may concern kayo sa program, baka malimutan na natin pagbalik. What do you think? How about you, Senator Pangilinan? What is your opinion?
Ma'am, kung maikli lang yung mga presentation, siguro dun sa major programs we can raise questions, and then basta lang maikli yung presentation ng mga attached agencies tsaka bureaus.
How about Senator Amy? What's your opinion?
Siguro po tuloy-tuloy na lang mag-present unless there's a real urgent question o sa importanteng programa.
Yeah, like the National Rice Program, di ba? Very important.
Baka may stack up na tayo dyan, 1 million questions na naman yan.
So you want to finish all the presentation? Mahaba to eh. Maybe we can hear first the Office of the Secretary, then the banner program, the bureaus later on na lang, di ba?
Oh, yeah, yung importante lang yung
Malilimutan natin. O yung banner programs naman at saka si Secretary, di ba? Iyon. Then the bureaus, we will go with the bureaus after we have finished with the banner programs, di ba? Do you agree with me? So we can do it that way. Kasi kung tatapusin natin lahat ng presentation na to, napakarami nito eh. Baka makakalimot-limot na tayo dito. We just, they finish up to the banner programs and then we begin questioning the banner programs. And then later on, we can continue with the bureaus. Okay. So we now acknowledge Secretary Dar to make the presentation.
Magandang umaga po sa magigiting na mga senador, Honorable Cynthia Villar, Chair of the Committee on Finance Subcommittee B, distinguished members of the committee, fellow servant leaders and workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, maganda at masaganang umaga po sa ating lahat. If you ate today, thank a farmer. My farmer parents used to always tell me, kung tutusin, kulang ang pasasalamat sa matinding sakripisyo ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Kailangan nilang bumangon sa araw-araw bago pa man tumilaok ang manok. Umulan man o umaraw, tuloy ang kanilang pagbabanat ng buto. Sa hapon, uuwi sila sa kanilang pamilya na pagod at masakit ang katawan. Our farmers and fishers toil and sweat their hearts out just to meet the daily needs of every Filipino. The rice, meat, fish, dairy, almost everything that each of us consume come from their hard work. What many people seem to overlook is that the food we eat comes from a source, and that source must be grown, nourished, and sustained, similar to planting a garden. For food security, we must create the right conditions to nourish Philippine agriculture and to support all the hardworking people behind it. Agriculture has long been linked to increasing food availability and to reducing food insecurity and malnutrition. It has long held the promise of freeing our people from the vicious cycle of conflict and poverty. Unlocking these potentials require what I call change in the mindset of all stakeholders, a major transformation in the way we appreciate and give value to agriculture and food systems. Productivity had waned over the years, and challenges of the past, such as strengthening of technology development, rural infrastructure, credit facilities, marketing support, and irrigation continue to haunt us to this day. The advent of climate change and increased global competition makes more Filipino farmers, fisherfolk, and agripreneurs most vulnerable, making them less food secure and less able to compete. Then came COVID-19, which placed tremendous pressure on our food production and distribution systems as it did globally. The magnitude of our responses must therefore match the scale of these challenges. They should be comprehensive, science-based, inclusive, and innovative to allow us build efficient and resilient food production and distribution systems to feed our growing population now and in the future. Madam Chair, the call of the times is clear. The transformation of Philippine agriculture into a dynamic, high-growth sector is essential now more than ever for the country. It is the surest way if we are to speed up our economic recovery from the pandemic and achieve a meaningful poverty reduction and inclusive growth. I'm thankful that despite the social paralysis and economic slowdown the pandemic has wrought, the agriculture sector remains resilient, even growing a quite surprising 1.6% in the second quarter of this year. Allow me to recognize, Madam Chair and the members of the committee, all the hardworking men and women in the department, and humbly give due credit to DA's very own plant program, which since the start of the community quarantine have been part of our strategy, becoming our umbrella flagship program to ensure food security and way forward under the new normal. We in the department also wish to thank our esteemed legislators in granting us the 24 billion stimulus package under Bayanihan 2. Your ever-gracious support will enable us to continue intensify our productivity and income enhancement programs, as well as deliver social protection and amelioration projects to our most affected farmers and fisherfolk. I assure you, we in the department will not rest on our past laurels. Instead, we will work doubly hard to achieve more for the sector and give our agri-fishery stakeholders a good fighting chance against these adversities. We also commit ourselves, Madam Chair and the members, to good governance and no to corruption. Madam Chair, our farmers and fishers require steady, consistent, and principled leadership in government during these times of transition and transformation. And with your help, I am confident we can address that need. We will never lose sight of our mandate, ensuring food security for the whole country and seeing to it that the farmers and fisher folks will now become more prosperous. At this point, Madam Chair, may I request and give the floor to our Undersecretary for Policy and Planning, Undersecretary Rodolfo Becerra, to present the proposed 2021 plans and budget. Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Madam Chair, good morning. I wish to present the broad policy directions that have been instituted since the start of Secretary Dar's assumption to office, for the which are now the directions being taken by our department, and briefly after that, a broad summary of the various budget figures that we have included in this budget for 2021. So, next chart, please. Just a brief description of where we are. We are happy to note that this year, for the first half of the year, we were able, the agriculture sector was among the encouraging, posted a very encouraging figure in terms of the entire economy. We grew up 1.6% in the first half of the year, even with the net losses of 5.4 billion due to the Taal eruption and the onslaught of typhoons in the first half of the year. And 1.6% really is remarkable in the midst of the effects of the COVID pandemic, which has impacted very grossly negative for the other sectors. No? And next chart, please. This actually showed that the pandemic has mildly affected the employment in the sector. Okay, we had some reduction, but it's only 3.5% as compared to the other sectors, industry and services. And so our broad direction is how to interlink some more with the other two sectors to be able to at least assist them in further growing the economy and absorbing part of the dislocated jobs from the other sectors towards the agriculture sector. Next chart, please. The next chart will show you the broad policy directions that have been introduced since the new administration in the department came in. We would like to highlight that in terms of vision, okay, we are looking at a food secure and resilient Philippines with prosperous farmers and fishers. Really, the difference between this vision and in the past ang focus po kasi ng visions that have been introduced has been on productivity. But this time around, we are very emphatic that the vision includes also the incomes of farmers and fishers. And in this framework that we are now showing you, meron pong napasingit na very urgent matter because of the COVID pandemic. And that is the two layers there, the survive, reboot, and grow, which is which now comprise the response of the department for the COVID situation, scenario. And we need to still protect our production, the availability of food, accessibility, affordability, price stability, and sustainability and food safety. But that does not forget the main vision that the Secretary has brought in, which now comprise of what we call the 8 paradigms. Farm consolidation, modernization, industrialization, export promotion, infrastructure development, which I will briefly explain in the next few slides, Your Honors. Next chart, please. So this restates our vision now for the department. We want a food secure and resilient Philippines with prosperous farmers and fishers. And the mission is to empower farmers and fisher folk through collective action and attract private sector investments with inclusive agribusiness towards agricultural efficiencies, productivity, sustainability, and resilience. At diyan po sa kanan, you'll still see the 8 paradigms, which I will briefly describe in turn po. Next chart, please. Modernization focuses really on improving the farmers' methodologies, no? How we can get them to adopt a set of science-based farming practices and good agricultural practices so that we can promote better productivity. And below are some of the things that we will work on in the various programs. Next chart, please. Next chart. In terms of this focus on industrialization, we are looking at how to promote entrepreneurship, how to bring in the techniques, management techniques, and organization to be able to make our farmers more productive as groups, and manage their value chains. Next chart, please. In terms of export promotion, ito po ay isa ring very important aspect that we long to be able to do, improve our competitiveness. The focus on this is to raise, the reason why we're also focusing on this is we should be able to raise the standards and quality of our production systems. Nandoon po yung focus natin dito so that anytime we are able to compete with other competitors in the other countries. Another major program now of the Secretary is what we call the Farm and Fisheries Clustering and Consolidation of the department. Yes, sir. We call it the F2C2 because we have seen this also in the various experiences po ng ating mga successful groups. No? We have seen this, Madam Chair, in your own program pagdating po doon sa Villar Sipag Awards. We have seen that the moment our farmers and fishers group together, they're able to improve their systems and productivity, and they can really focus on the value chain approach. And this is a short description po of the programs and projects that we have in this under this new approach now that the department is following. We would like to see farmers clustered into rice farmers, for instance, a minimum of 100 hectares, corn and the other grain crops, 75 hectares, and then for high value crops, maybe a minimum of 50 hectares. And the same is true with livestock, and fisheries. Let me just show you an example of this, Madam Chair, in the next chart. Okay. The next chart shows you two examples. If we can bring together a group of farmers for 100 hectares, their value chain will be improved, and they will be able to produce up to 19 million pesos in terms of production, and this will be able to raise their level of productivity, especially when we are able to assist them with professional farmers, helping them raise their number one productivity, improving their costs, reducing their costs, better access to inputs and
Can I
markets.
interject, the presentation and ask something? Yes. Can
Yes,
I
ma'am.
yeah. Who will do this? Usually in all our legislation, it's the Cooperative Development Authority who will organize them. In DA, are you going to be the one to organize, or you will ask the help of the Cooperative Development Authority?
Yes, ma'am. We will work together with
Because
CDA.
there's no mention of because when you say that we in Villarsi, pag we do this, we award the best cooperative and farmers association who which reduce poverty in the Philippines. So we are relying on cooperatives. So I thought that we should encourage farmers to form cooperative. So
Yes, ma'am.
is there an office in your department who will do this, who will encourage the formation of cooperative, or you will ask
We,
CDA to do this? I just want to
Madam,
ask that question kasi walang mention dito on who will do this. Oo.
tama po. Let me answer that, Madam Chair. We will strengthen an office here in DA, and
What
that
is
will
the name of
really
the office? What is the name of
institution,
the office?
Institutional Development Office that will work with CDA in enhancing the formation of farmers cooperatives and associations po.
Can you give me the people in charge of the Institutional Development Office so that if we need them, we know whom to get in touch with? The problem kasi with a big organization, you don't know whom to approach for particular problem. So I would like to think that you should include that in your presentation. Sino ba in charge nito? Para kami, pag maghahanap kami, alam namin kung sino ang pupuntahan.
Opo, ma'am.
Okay?
We will give you, ma'am.
Yeah,
We will
okay.
give.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, just to continue, this also takes inspiration. For instance, po dito sa livestock, in one of the cooperatives that is sa Villarsi Pag-Awardee, yun pong Padre Garcia in Batangas. Yun po, this really takes inspiration from the programs that you have already institutionalized. Next chart, please. Next chart. In terms of the other aspects po ng aming 8 strategic trusts and paradigms, we still have some more. Infrastructure development is key in our programs, recognizing that we need not just farm to market roads for next chart, for our farmers, but also processing facilities and equipment. And the 7th and 8th part of our road mapping of the roadmaps is, of course, increasing budget and investments. And when we are able to do this, we need to also not just the budget, because medyo kailangan pong marami po tayong i-address. Our farmers are still mostly under the poverty level. And we need also to link them up through this farm clustering and consolidation with investors. And then in the roadmap development po, we're now studying how to complete po yung road mapping for 56 different commodities in the plant sector, livestock sector, and fisheries sector. In terms of legislative support,
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Dinan, yes?
Yes.
Can we request lang po for submission yung 56 commodities na nabanggit nila?
Okay. So
Yes,
we
ma'am.
asked the Department of Agriculture to submit the 56 commodities which they will support in their they will give legislative rather their support in their national expenditure program.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We will submit that. Ang state po nitong road mapping exercise po namin is that we have already done the value, the mapping of the different products coming from each of these commodities. For instance po, yung coconut, we have mapped yung mga where it goes until the buko juice and all the processed products na ganon. But we still need some more deeper studies, and we will need your support po to complete this. Our objective po dito sa road mapping exercise is not just to do a 1 year, but medium term and long term development for each of these products. So medyo nasa beginning stages pa lang po yung aming nasimulan, and we will be submitting to you the initial impact output po namin na nagawa na namin. Next chart, please. This lists down our priority legislative agenda in support po of the legislation the legislation that have been passed already, and the new agenda that coming out, that the Senate also may have already presented. Number one po sa atin is I'm showing here in this list is yung Coconut Farmers Industry Development Trust, and we support po your directions in this.
May I interject? We have passed the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund. The Senate has passed that. We're waiting for the House, and then we'll do the BICAM.
Salamat po,
So
Madam
that's
Chair.
out of the proposed legislation. We have passed that. Yeah.
Opo, maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
And the
of course,
National
the rest-
Land Use Act is with DNR. It's not with agriculture.
We support lang po. Support po ito because it will help us in the sector, in the agriculture sector. Gusto ko lang pong i-highlight po ang dalawa pong item dito, tatlo siguro. Magna Carta for Young Farmers.
We have a legislation for that. I think it's just an amendment. I think we have passed a legislation on young farmers. You look for the legislation.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We will closely work with your staff for this, ma'am. And then
In the Agri-Agra law, we have problems with that. We don't agree in the Agri-Agra law. So we're holding it because we don't agree
Okay, ma'am.
on how we will revise the Agri-Agra law. Okay.
We will closely work with your staff, madam.
Actually, in the Agri-Agra law, the Agri part is okay. The Agra is the one with problem because they have no what you call this titles to use as collateral in the banks. That's why the DAR has now programmed the titling of agricultural under the agrarian land reform. What's the name? Sleep program, something like that. And it was financed by World Bank. So we ano that, yung meron na sila dyan sa what you call this, yung problem ng Agri-Agra. They're solving that because they're now titling individually yung titles ng land reform beneficiaries. Kasi ang may problema, Agra, hindi yung Agri.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the guidance. We will consult with your staff, ma'am, to finalize some more.
If you want rainwater, why don't you allocate a portion of your budget to rainwater harvesting? We don't have to pass that. You just allocate a portion of your budget.
We will, ma'am. We will, ma'am.
And then urban agriculture, you allocate a certain portion of your budget there. Bamboo industry, the DNR is allocating a big part of their budget under the greening program. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So, thank you very much, ma'am, for the guidance, and we will consult some more with your staff para
We have passed the
finalize.
Organic Agriculture Act, so we have finished that. It has been passed. It will be signed by the President anytime now.
Opo, ma'am. Thank you very much. Next, going to the next chart, this now provides a summary of the budget proposal that we have, ma'am. We have a total of proposal of 86.3 billion pesos. In terms of the distribution, capital outlays is for 29.43% or 25.4 billion. We have financial expenses 1.4 billion. MOOE is 55 billion or 63.75%. CapEx, I mentioned that. Our MOOE, the PS is 5.9 billion pesos. Next chart, please. This is now the distribution by programs, by projects, and by agencies po. In terms of the programs, we have 7 banner programs. Rice gets 15.7 billion. Livestock gets 1.1 billion. Corn gets 1.4 billion, 1.5 roughly. High value crops gets 1.6 billion. Organic agriculture will get 500 million pesos, and fisheries will get 2.9 billion. Halal continues to receive roughly 23 billion. Million, sorry.
May
So
I
the
interject? May I interject, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this fisheries program, is this different from the budget of BFAR?
It's the same, ma'am.
So
it
it's
is
part,
included in their activities.
so
part
they have a
of that.
budget of a little less than 6 billion. This is included there? Yung fisheries program mo? Or
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is additional budget?
No, this is included. Attribution lang po
Okay,
ito.
okay. Yung rice program, this is an addition to RCEP of 10
Yes, ma'am.
billion. So,
Yes, ma'am.
parang ang rice program natin, 25 billion na.
Roughly, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And then we have a 7 billion budget in NFA. Okay? So,
you.
so your program now has more than 30 billion for rice.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I
Thank
just
you
want to
very much.
clarify.
Opo. Next chart, please. These are now also presenting the projects naman po. We have 9.958 billion for FMR projects. We have the special area for agriculture development, 1.365 billion. We have the 4Case program for the kabuhayan at kaunlaran ng mga kababayang katutubo.
May I question? Are you going to explain that SAAD program afterwards?
Mamaya po, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, mamaya. This will be part of the process.
Can I correct
I'm
that?
just
That's
summarizing.
RCEF with an F, not okay. Okay.
Program po kasi, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's program. That's the funding is RCEF, pero but the program is ito po, ang tawag RCEF. And then RSBSA updating po, as you see here, we have provided 220 million, although this is quite a reduction from last year. Balik Probinsya, we have included some 500 M for this to assist po in that program para maging partner po din kami sa employment process dito. And the PRDP has still new funding worth 576 million. It's there, but this is still a reduction, 75% reduction from last year. Next chart, please. In terms of the distribution din po of this budget, in the department, we have the OSEC receiving an increase of 7.92%, roughly 7% to 56.8 billion. The ACPC gets 2.3 billion, but this is the BFAR has 4.6 billion. The FPA 156 billion. The million, sorry. The NFRDI 290 billion. NMIS gets 444 million. The PCC gets 495, although this is a reduction already by 17%. The PhilMec gets 352 million, and PCAF receives 228, and lastly, the PhilFIDA 370 million. Next chart.
Again, a question. That BFAR budget, is that different from the one you said that you have a fisheries program? You add that to this BFAR budget?
This is now the total for the agencies, Madam Chair.
It's 4.6 billion together with the fisheries program? Or you add that to this? Parang mali
Ito
yan.
na po yung budget, including
Parang
the
mali
fisheries
yan.
program.
Madam Chair, napakadaming items tungkol sa fisheries. Yung iba add and subtract, medyo
That's why
nakakahilo eh.
you make us, well, ba't nyo sinasama dyan? Kasi we will hear the BFAR budget differently. So sana, pagsamasamahin nyo yung BFAR under this, para hindi tayo nalilito. Kasi,
Ito lang,
as I remember,
po yung-
BFAR has a 6 billion budget. Kasama na lahat. So, nagtataka ako, parang dito, hindi yan 4.6, ha?
Opo, if I may add, yung meron siyang 27% reduction from last year sa BFAR, pero may program sa OSEC, mayroon rin Fisheries Development Authority na almost 300% increase, may National Fisheries Research,
Tago eh.
tapos meron pang Fisheries Regulatory and Law Enforcement na bumaba naman. Kaya medyo nahihilo ako sa direction natin sa fishery. Parang
Dapat tanggalin nyo na
tapos
dito
all
yan.
over the
And,
place.
I want all the fisheries budget together so we can discuss it together. Bakit nyo ba pinaghihiwa-hiwalay? Nililito nyo kami eh.
This is just the broad overview for the department. The
No,
attached agencies
we're
plus
getting
the department.
confused. Because there is a separate hearing for the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Pagsamasamahin nyo doon para naintindihan namin, huwag nyo kami guluhin.
Salamat po, ma'am. We will
Kasi
do
may
that.
major findings dyan sa BFAR eh. They haven't done any program for the fishermen. Yung mga congressman, pass sila ng law establishing hatcheries, wala silang nagawa so far for the last 4 years and we're going 6 years. At ang dinadahilan nila budget. Samantalang yung BFAR of the last administration, pareho din ang budget but they were able to establish more than 500 fish landing facilities. So sabi ko, ano ipakikita nyo after 6 years? Kung yun lang pinasa ng mga congressman na hatcheries, na mabuti nga interesado yung mga congressman sa fisheries, bihira naman ang congressman mahilig sa agriculture, ba't hindi nyo pa i-build para meron naman kayong performance na mapapakita sa pag-alis nyo ng pwesto, di ba? Yun ang question ko sa kanila. Because the last administration, they were able to build more than 500 fish landing facilities all over the Philippines. In fact, pag kuha mo ng picture na doon lahat sila, pare-pareho kulay nila. Ba tayo, yung pinasa pa ng Congress na hatcheries, wala silang nabibuild miski isa.
Yes, Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
Madam
I'm
Chair.
very interested in a BFAR budget separately together. Lahat ng ano nyo sa BFAR, pagsama-samahin nyo doon at pag-usapan natin BFAR separately.
Opo,
Yes,
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Liz po.
Kasi ang nababasa ko, 7 yung item na may kinalaman sa fisheries, may aquaculture sub-program, may fisheries regulatory, may fisheries development, may fisheries research, may karugtong pa na Philippine Council Agro-Fisheries, tapos may OSEC program, tapos may BFAR. Apakarami eh. Ewan ko bakit chinap-chap po nakakahilo at yung iba dagdag, yung iba bawas. So hindi ko mabasa saan ba direksyon natin. Are we investing so that we stop importing even galunggong? Or are we giving up on fisheries because there's a 27% reduction in BFAR? I'm a bit lost po.
In addition, Secretary Dar, in 2016 or sometime in the beginning of your term, we passed the IUUF. Rather, during the previous administration, we passed the IUUF. The assurance with me to pass that IUUF, you will increase your income from regulatory to 1 billion pesos a year. But what happened? It's more than 100 million during that time. Now it's less than 100 million. So, imbis na nag-increase, lalong bumaba yung regulatory. So, so nagugulat kami na after passing IUUF, lalong hindi na regulate ang fishing in the municipal water. So, medyo
Madam Chair,
malungkot tayo sa fisheries. So,
ayun na nga, ayon pa sa budget nila, may decrease yung fishery regulatory. Mas lalong hindi makakakolekta to kasi yung 1.7 naging 800 na lang po.
but
Fisheries separate.
But they have income in regulatory, ha? And they are not
Madam-
declaring it. They are not declaring it. Oh, where did they
Madam
bring it?
Chairman,
Oh,
Madam Chair,
yes.
Madam Chair,
in a few minutes ho, we'll be taking a break. Magta 10:30 na ho eh. Baka pagbalik natin, pwedeng ayusin muna ng BA at i-consolidate ho nila for fisheries para pagbalik ho natin,
Yeah.
ma-present nila yung bagong kwenta.
sige po.
Oh,
sige
yes,
po.
please. Yes, please.
Oo, kasi very concerned ang mga legislators sa fisheries, eh.
Sige
Which is
po,
good.
Madam
They're
Chair.
interested in
Bigay
fisheries.
mo-
Last slide na lang po.
Yeah, okay. We finish and then we transfer to that hearing on FA
Yes, ma'am.
to farmers, financial assistance to farmers. Okay, go ahead. You finish.
Yes, ma'am. Opo. We will try to come out with a summary figure po for the fisheries. And thank you very next chart, please. Next chart. Ito na po ang last chart actually. Magte-thank you lang po kami that we have at least given you a brief description and a broad overview of our budgets and plans for next year. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, maraming salamat. Ayusin namin yung data ng fisheries para minsanan na lang natin pa i-evaluate po. Pakiayos na ninyo.
For an hour, maybe the budget hearing of the Department of Agriculture, so we can transfer to our hearing of the resolution that provides that we give the excess of 10 billion na sa rice tariffication to cost assistance for the rice farmers. So can you join me also in that hearing, senators, because we need your
Do we
approval.
log out or do we stay here?
Do we lag?
Out?
Maglalag out tapos
Maglalag out daw tapos maglalag in where?
Same login ho?
nasa email.
Can you, I can read it.
New daw, ma'am. Alam
New-
nung taga Senate po.
Alam nung
Okay.
sa
Committee secretary.
yung committee
Committee
secretary, can you ask the committee secretary where you will log in? But I will pwede ba i-read mo kung para Baka mahirapan
Hindi,
sila.
Madam Chair, okay lang ho kasi pag in-announce nyo, baka kung sino-sino yung mag-log in.
Okay, sige,
Baka
sige.
may
Okay,
pumasok na
okay,
screen chair.
okay. So we
Opo.
transfer. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Secretary, Senator Pangilinan. There's a different invitation, ma'am. There's a different invitation on the links to the other hearing.
we acknowledge the presence of again of Senator Amy. Are they all here? Senator Kiko and Senator Binay. Nandito pa ba si Senator Binay? Okay. Meron siyang, Amy, were you saying something to me before we transferred?
Hindi, dadagdag ko lang dun sa joint resolution shall be automatically appropriated.
So, yun
Naubusan kasi
naman
natin.
Oo, automatically na lang. O sige, we'll include that. There's no ano naman that dun sa committee report. Okay. So we'll include that. Tawagan mo si Reggie para ayusin niya yung wordings. We will do the wordings and then we will send it to you for comments para whatever I overlook, you will look into it so we will not be hampered in the future. Okay?
Yes, ma'am, pa-check lang yung latest Supreme Court ruling on joint resolutions. Baka dapat batas. Imbis na
Pero dadalhin natin sa sa floor. Ano 'yon? Gagawin natin batas?
baka pa-check nyo na lang po sa
Yun yung problema natin noon.
yes, pagka joint resolution, it might have to
Doon
be.
sa DSWD na rice subsidy.
That's right.
Oo.
That's right.
So,
Kaya
paano to? We will change it. So,
pwede naman po as long as the
Check
committee
na
report.
natin.
mag-committee report na lang ako na na-decide na gawing batas, di ba?
Yes. Yes.
Until 2025, di ba? Kasi hanggang doon yung rice RTL eh.
RTS.
Oo, tapos i-amend naman natin yun before that time comes eh. So we will just di ba? Oo.
Yes, ma'am. Either that or we can probably have a provision in the GAA. That is another option.
Actually, I was going to suggest na any amount collected in excess of the 10 billion ceiling shall be automatically, ayun na, then we can put
Sa GAA. Sa GAA yon o sa ating resolution?
Sa GAA rin po, pwedeng habulin sa special provision po ng RCEP.
Pwede rin yun. So
Saan
either
kayo lawyer, kayo nga gumawa, hindi man ako lawyer.
sige, ma'am.
Gawin na
Pagtulungan na lang namin.
Baka mas mabilis na may batas kasi madali i-convert yung joint resolution. Pero sa pagpasa ng budget, ipasok na natin yung special provision din.
Para dalawa. Pwede naman yun, ma'am.
So I will call you with
Yes,
my
ma'am.
with my staff para gawin niyo yung how we will
Sige.
do it. Ha?
Yes, ma'am.
Ang importante, nag-hearing na tayo kasi they said we have to hear it eh. Oo.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right po. Yun yung hinihirit ko kanina, kaya lang hindi ako nakahabol.
Oo. So yung committee report na lang natin. Anyway, tayo naman na nag-hearing, di ko pirmahan natin doon, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
So tawagan mo na si para mag-coordinate sa kanila. Si BFAR, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. So we recognize Secretary Dar to present the budget of BFAR or any of his authorized person. Thank you. Nakabalik na ba sila? Parang wala pa sila eh.
Nandito na po kami.
Okay. So we can discuss the budget of BFAR. Okay?
Opo.
Madam Chair, just the broad overview po of the budgets of BFAR and NFRDI and PFDA is flashed on your screens.
Yes.
Ayan po. Yung pong first column is a description of the amounts ng last year, for this year. And then the second column is what we propose.
Yes.
The DPM. The third column is what came back. Ito po yung na-approve ng DPM. So ito pong third column ang nandyan po sa EP. So total for BFAR as discussed a while ago was 4.6 billion with and part
Not including the National Fisheries Program.
Iba po yun.
Okay,
Nare-restitute
so
po kasi
that's what
siya.
I'm asking. And then,
Kasama daw po. Kasama si NFR.
Ah?
Under ng...
ayun, hindi. Ayun, no,
Hindi,
nakalagay.
nahiwalay eh.
Ayan,
Ibang
no.
amount eh, 2.9.
Under the
billion eh.
fisheries sector, madam.
Ha?
National Fisheries Program, nakalagay separate eh. Oh.
Separated, it's a different amount to 2.9? Or is that the total of those two items?
Breakdown ata. 2.9
Breakdown
plus
from 4.6?
Opo, breakdown lang po ito. Opo.
Yes.
Eh, ba't ang total? So, 4.6 at saka 5.1.
Yes, ma'am.
And 290 million.
Ba't gawa ng 290? Oo. So,
5 plus.
so what is that National Fisheries Program?
Madam Chair, yes, Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Yes,
Yusek Ching Caballero po.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. This is under the BFAR po, yung National Fisheries Program.
Oh, what is that?
This is the...
Explain the breakdown
under-
of the budget. This
Okay.
BFAR na 4609, tapos National Fisheries Program, tapos yung regular program na 1.66, at saka yung NFRDI, at saka yung PFDA. Oh, you explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources presented a total budget of 4,609,833,000, which is broken down into two items. Item 1 is the National Fisheries Program, which covers po the operations, net of personal services, at 2,943,000,000
3 billion.
341,000.
Oo.
Yes, ma'am. Kasama po
Oh.
dito sa regular program ay ang 1,666,492,000 pesos for gas, SDO, and personal services. Kasunod po nito is an attached agency again, the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute, which primarily focuses on RD, research and development, under the fisheries sector, with a total budget of 290,857,000.
Mhm.
Ang kasunod naman po dito ay ang Philippine Fisheries Development Authority, which is basically the infrastructure arm of the fisheries sector, with a budget of 5,163,975,000 pesos.
What do they build?
Ang total,
What do
this,
they
ma'am,
build?
are the-
Oo.
they build po the fish ports, fish landing. Fish landing is built by BFAR. Fish ports is what they focus on, including po the cold storage facilities. This includes...
Can you give us a breakdown of what they're going to do with their 5 billion budget?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
we're
Kasi
quite
laki-laki
concerned.
ha?
Yeah, we're quite concerned because you're giving them a very large increase of 75%. And in fact, there have been so many complaints about the fish ports that are in the wrong place and were politically assigned, and also cold storage plants that are not being managed or operated at all.
Yes, Madam Chair. If I may be recognized po, this includes, with that budget, they plan to implement 142 fish ports under their rehabilitation program, improvement and upgrading.
Hindi,
And
ang
this will
problema
also...
kasi, maybe dapat may evaluation ng program na yan eh. Kasi maraming kapalpakan na rinireport. Halimbawa sa Zamboanga area kung saan yung sardinas, wala naman daw silang cold storage at shared facilities. Samantalang sa amin, kung saan ubos na yung isda, pinagpipilitan na maglagay ng mga fish port na hindi kailangan at ayaw ng tao.
So maybe you give us a list of this and this will be subject to we will look into this and this will be subject to to realignment. Kasi ang
Yes,
laki-laki.
Madam Chair. We will
Ang
comply.
laki-laki. Oo.
Kaya nakakapagtaka.
Oo.
Tapos may budget pa rin. Asan yung Fisheries Regulatory and Law Enforcement? Meron rin yun eh. Dati 1.7 billion. Di ko na makakita. Pero ngayon nakita ko nasa 800 na lang. Wala ba dyan?
The 800 is their PS. The 800
Madam Chair,
is their PS. Oo.
yeah, Madam Chair, may I be recognized po?
Yes, okay.
Yun pong tungkol po sa regulatory, it's under the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. The one, that's the regular mandate po. The other
Mm.
one that we are
You're
talking about,
saying, okay, you're saying yung fisheries regulatory, kasama na siya sa budget na 4.6?
Yes.
yes ma'am. Yes po.
PS eh. Yung 803 is PS.
And
And
then,
the rest are MOOE.
I see. Tapos yung collection niyan,
Saan dinadala? May provision yan kung saan dadalhin, hindi nila nire-report eh.
at may collection niyan eh, nasa 83 million ba yun?
Opo, we will comply po doon sa mga inquiries, ma'am. The breakdown as to where the construction project will be going under the PFDA, and number 2, yun pong kung saan napupunta yung collection under the regulatory function ng BFAR.
Oo.
Last year na lang, kapag binigay lahat ng perang yan, talaga bang hindi na tayo mag-import ng galunggong kailanman?
At saka we are going to look at that PFDA kasi ang laki-laki na in-increase. Eh baka kung saan-saan lang nila dalhin. Samantalang, yung
Almost 300%.
yung mga hatcheries na mga congressman na pinasa pa nilang batas, hindi na i-implement. So maybe doon yung dadalhin some of the money kasi nakakahiya, nagpakahirap na ipasang batas kami at saka Senado tapos walang na-implement. There are 61 of them.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Ma'am, we will recast the budget po to include the provision for the new hatcheries that has
Yeah.
been 18 hatcheries to be exact, Madam Chair.
No, it's 42
42.
plus 21. Ipapasa namin yung 21 eh, napasa na yung 12 eh. Pinakukonfirm lang yung lugar nung natitirang 21 minus 12 eh. That's 9. Pinakukonfirm lang yung lugar ng 9 para wala na tayong argument kasi sasabihin nyo it's not feasible. So ginagawa na natin feasible, but I told you on November 9 we will pass it. Kinuha ko na yung date eh. Now we will go back and pass it. So you have 42 plus 21, 63 to build. Ba ilagay nyo dyan. Kasi nakakahiya, nagpakahirap pa kami ipasa na batas. Tapos ayaw
Chair?
implement. Oh, yes.
Madam
Yes,
Chair?
yes, Madam Chair. We will confer po with your technical staff on this, and we will present
61
recasted budget.
hatcheries. Buti nga mahihilig yung mga congressman sa agriculture. Otherwise, nandun lahat sila sa DPWH eh. Oh,
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Oh,
Madam
yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, pwede for submission na lang ho kasi nabanggit niya kanina 142 fish ports yung
Yes, for
popondo kanina.
repair. Pero for repair. Ba't pa
Oo nga.
i-repair yun? Bigyan na lang na equipment, wag na i-repair. Ano ba i-repair doon? Yung mga simentado naman yun. Nakita ko mga pictures eh.
Ay, yung
Lagyan
iba,
mo equipment.
marami po hindi ginagamit.
Oo, lagyan na lang na equipment. Ba't ba i-repair yun? Kahit mo
Madam
i-repair yun,
Chair.
kung walang equipment yun, hindi rin magagamit yun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I be recognized po?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, the other fish ports po kasi is in compliance with our IUUF, yung illegal, unreported, and regulated fishing. And because we are exporting some of our catch, we would need po a very reliable and
I don't think it's the building that is the problem. I think
Wala
it's
naman
the
tao doon,
equipment.
nakatiwangwang lang yung semento. Paano ninyo kukulihin?
Oh.
Sige, Madam Chair, we will
Ako
recast
naman.
po.
Ako, para kang NIA, puro repair. Imagine ang NIA, puro repair. Kalahati repair, kalahati ang bago. O, sigurado ka ba doon sa repair na yun? Hindi ako naniniwala sa repair. Bago na lamang para makita kung meron talaga. O, pinaltan ko yun sa NIA, ginawa akong 70-30. O.
Yes, ma'am. We will confer po with your staff. Thank you po.
Oh.
Madam Chair.
So I think you should, teka muna, liliwanagin ko lang dito. You have to build that 61 hatcheries. Nakakahiya.
Okay.
Pass pa yun in 2016 yata eh. Wala pa kayong nagagawa, laki-laki ng budget nyo. And then we will review this PFDA na to kung ano gagawin dito. Hindi pwede yan. Tapos sabi nyo sa akin, hindi nyo magawa yung fish hatcheries kasi hindi nyo, sa subcontract nyo pa yung study. Meron kayong FRDI na may 290 million budget. Hindi ba yan research? Ba't nyo pa ipasa-subcontract yung feasibility ng fish hatcheries? Meron kayong FRDI.
At saka wag na ninyo i-distribute by congressional district. Ibigay na sa Zamboanga at sa talagang nangangailangan.
They can
Madam
build
Chair,
in Zamboanga. Pati Zamboanga nag-request
Kasi nga sila na talagang may isda at may problema sa sardinas, sila hindi nakakatanggap. So,
Nag-request.
iba nakakatanggap.
Kasi
Thank you po, Madam Chair.
pinasa yun sa Kongreso Siyempre pupunta sa akin, ipapasa ko yun. Tinatanong ko naman sila kung iyon feasible. Sasabihin naman nila feasible. Di papasa ko. Tapos ngayon, ano nila gawin? Kung ano-ano sinasabi nila, hindi tama yun. Kung hindi feasible, di sabihin nyo hindi feasible. Willing naman yung mga congressman magpalit ng lugar Turuan nyo lang kung saan magpapalit
Yes, Madam Chair, we will comply po.
My God.
Chair, with the permission of the chair.
Okay,
Just-
Secretary, Senator Pangilinan. Okay.
Just a quick interjection. We support this call for the production or the construction of these hatcheries. This actually answers in part the question of Senator Marcos about importation. Very fundamental kasi yung hatcheries Yan yung pwedeng paramihin ang paramihin. At imbis na mag-i-import, yung ating mga similya, yung ating mga galing pa sa abroad
Correct.
Sana tayo ang gumagawa nun. In fact, nung 1970s, sa atin galing itong mga similya ng bangus, tapos dinala sa Taiwan, sila ngayon ang matindi ang kanilang production, tapos tayo ngayon ang naghahabol ng similya dahil wala tayong mga hatchery. So napaka-critical po ng hatchery in addressing itong sufficiency in seafood and fish sa ating bansa. And that's why we support itong pagtatayo nitong mga hatchery na ito.
So we move that we review again the budget of the fishery sector with the intention of them including in their budget the construction of the 63 multiple species hatcheries, fish hatcheries, and crab hatcheries, which was passed in Congress and the Senate, which are a provision of the law that they be able to construct this until 2022. So we have to review so that we can realign some of the budget to those fish hatcheries. Okay? Is that okay with you, senators? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Amy, yes. Senator Amy, yes.
Yes po.
So,
full support po, full support.
Okay, so we review. Maybe they can submit another budget.
Mother,
That is, yes, yes.
Madam Chair, we fully support, this is Willie Dar, Secretary Dar.
Yes.
We fully support the construction of more hatcheries in the Philippines. The number you have mentioned is about 63. Sana po lang ang aming prayer lang ay masunod po yung mga technical specifications. Kasi po ang hirap i-maintain, mas lalo na kung LGUs po ang mag-maintain. So ganun lang po, we need to have 30 million per hatchery na multi-species, and sustaining that over the longer term will be a challenge kung hindi
Sabi nila 20, ngayon 30 na. Sabi nila 20.
Hindi po, 30
Sabi
po
nila
yun.
20 million basta magbibigay ang local government ng lugar. Oo.
Opo,
O, hindi kayo bibili ng lupa. Oo. Tapos ngayon,
Opo.
30 na. Hindi ko nga maintindihan kayo. Paiba-iba kayo eh. Anyway, the local government, for the information of Secretary Dar, they agree that they will follow what the BFAR will tell them that is what is feasible. And the understanding is that you will operate it for the first 2 years and you will
Tama.
teach the local government that they will take over after the second year. Oo,
Opo.
yung 2 years yung tuturuan sila how to do it and the local government will take over. At ang usapan, kung ayaw ng local government, huwag gawin. Kasi, di ba, ay, hindi pwede. Sinabi ko sa kanila, you have to agree and you have to give the land where it will be built. Ngayon, ang magtuturo sa kanila kung saan feasible, payag naman sila na kung hindi pumasa to sa BFAR, hahanap sila ng iba, 'di ba? Payag naman sila ng ganun eh.
Pero
They just want a
wala naman.
fish hatchery in
Yes,
their
Madam Chair.
district. Oo. So,
Madam Chair.
yes.
Opo, again,
We had a
another prayer.
hearing. Oh,
Another prayer po, Madam Chair. With the 63 hatcheries already planned to be supported to be put up next year, the total budget needed here is 1.89 billion.
that's
So, ang
why
prayer-
I'm telling them to prioritize this, remove some of them, and put it in the budget next year. Mag-giveaway sila doon sa hatcheries. Yun ang sinasabi ko. And you gave 500 million in your bayanihan for hatcheries. So, kalahati na lang ang i-raise nyo. Di ba? 500 million yung naandun sa bayanihan 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
So
Eh,
we need still
di bawasan nyo to.
1.4.
Di ask mo the Bureau of Fisheries, katakot-takot to, 5 billion. Magbawas siya dyan. I-prioritize niya to. Tapos, yung mga hindi maiwan dito, di gawin niya next year. Oh. Baka hindi naman importante lahat to eh. Oh. Katulad na Nabotes Fish Port Complex, 3 billion. Ano ba gagawin doon? Nagawa na yun eh. Ano na naman ang gagawin doon? I've been there. It's been constructed. So,
Imo-modernize po yon.
oo nga. Meron pa ba? Di, bawasan nyo. Sobra naman yung 3 billion. Kami nga sa Las Piñas, senator pa ako, hindi ako nakahingi ng 3 billion eh. Oh. Hindi nga ako nahingi sa inyo eh. Swerte naman nila. I-prioritize nyo to at ilipat nyo doon kasi I think that's good for the livelihoods of the people. Oh. Hatiin nyo yung iba dito. Baka hindi naman kailangan this year lahat to.
Pala October 19 ang presentation ng PFDA. So we will expound it.
Yeah. Ako, I have not, except that it was passed into law. Why will you not provide budget for it? Yung mga 63 na yun, pass into law yun. You don't honor the law. Why are we passing laws if you don't honor the law?
Madam Chair, we will comply po and we will confer po with your technical
Yeah,
staff. Salamat
you
po.
revise your budget. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Yes, Madam Chair.
I really believe that we should honor the law. And naglagay na kayo ng 500, dadagdagan nyo lang. Ang dami-dami nito eh. Oh.
Ma'am?
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, on a related matter sa BFAR, may we request a clarification from Secretary Dar regarding the revision of the guidelines setting boundaries of municipal waters dahil ang concern ng mga LGUs pagka naaprubahan daw itong proposed guidelines ay up to 50% ng municipal waters ng ilang mga LGU ay mababawasan at mabubuksan sa commercial fishing.
Guideline.
Yes.
What is this guideline? We don't know about these guidelines.
Yes, Senator Kiko, as a matter of fact, that there are already VMM and HS na talagang kinakabit na ng BFAR na rinereklamo ng ating mga local fishermen kung bakit daw kinakabit without any consideration or consultation. Yung VMM, VMS are already being implemented without consultation with scientists or the locals. So in effect, all the fishermen are in effect illegally operating since there's no proper delineation of municipal waters, as Senator
Kala ko
Kiko
ba
stated.
15 kilometers from the shore? Di ba
Yes.
ang municipal water is 15 kilometers from the shore? Di ba yan?
Meron ho kasi silang delineation na dapat daw from the inland, the main coastal area. Pagka ganun ho, liliit. That's why yung concern.
Hindi ba subject yan ng legislation? Bakit i-decide lang yan ng
Ang
BFAR?
problema po kasi, yung climate change, yung tubig lumiliit. So saan bibilangin yung 15 kilometers? Nalulugi tayo at yung municipal waters, kumikipot ng kumikipot. So in effect, illegal lahat ng operations ng ating fishermen.
So we can pass a legislation on that para mapigil yan?
Pero in the meantime, ma'am, yung kanilang guidelines, meron ho kasi silang guidelines sa BFAR na i-revise at pinag-aaralan daw. That's why we want to hear the secretary. They have not approved it.
May
Madam
we give the floor to the secretary? Okay.
Secretary, this doesn't even need legislation. BFAR just needs to clarify guidelines and update it given the state of our coastal areas.
Can I have the floor, Madam Chair?
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you po. Ito po ay mayroon na tayong batas. We have to follow the existing law. And accordingly, there is a debate lang ito ngayon, yung archipelagic principle versus mainland principle. Now, if we have to go by all intents and purposes, we are an archipelagic country. So ang aking position ay wala itong mainland reference. That will be put in the garbage can.
Okay. That's good to hear, Secretary, because yung argument ng kabila, dapat mainland, and therefore it opens up, lumiliit yung municipal waters, tapos lalaki yung commercial fishing. So kawawa yung ating small fisher folk. And there is a direct correlation between effective management of these municipal waters and poverty. If these municipal waters are effectively managed by the local government and stakeholders, poverty in the fishery sector is greatly reduced. And that's why it is critical.
Tama po.
Salamat.
Secretary Dar, can you give us a briefer on this para people not really very familiar with the law will be guided accordingly, so we will know what's happening?
Sige po.
Okay.
Sige po.
Can you give us a briefer on this so that if we have to do something, we know what we're going to do? Okay?
Tama
Yes.
po.
I'd just like to support Senator Kiko's statement that in fact poverty in the coastal sector is almost 2.5 times higher than even the other rural sectors.
Yes, ma'am. Pinakamahirap, ma'am, ang mga mangingisda natin. Just to clarify, with the permission of the chair, the newspaper articles, a Philippine Daily Inquirer today says, Agriculture Secretary has yet to decide on the resolution. He noted, this is Noel Reyes, that the Secretary had commissioned a science-based review of the proposal. So if we can get updates regarding the final decision on this matter, Secretary Willie, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, we will do that. This is just an analysis, but my position now is to abide by, we are an archipelagic country, so there's no debate on that issue.
Thank you. That is a relief to our small fisher folk, Madam Chairperson, Mr. Secretary. Maraming salamat.
Okay. So we suspend the hearing of the Bureau of the Fisheries budget, subject to a revision that we are asking them, and then we proceed to the other programs of the Department of Agriculture. Okay, thank you. We hear now on the other programs. We'll begin with the we begin with the rice programs. If you have comment on the rice program. Yes.
Most of Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes. Well, most of our questions were directed towards what we discussed in the earlier hearing, ma'am. Kaya ang concern na
So we have tackled this. So this yung changes that we want everything beyond 10 billion to be given to rice farmers. Rice farmers as financial assistance to rice farmers owning 1 hectare and below. And that is until the expiry of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Okay. And one of my question here, if you have no question, I want to so we are removing the crop diversification program of 113B to be used for farmers assistance financial assistance to rice farmers. Okay, this crop diversification in the budget. Okay, and
Madam Chair,
yes.
pwede bang
Then you can revise your budget where you will get that crop diversification program.
Yeah.
It's just that we're
That's a
getting,
good.
yeah, it's
Tama
for
po,
you.
tama po.
You just submit to us what you will
Opo.
get it from, but you can do a crop diversification program, pero hindi dun sa in excess of 10 billion, di ba?
Tama ma'am,
Gusto
tama
lang
po.
namin ibigay yan sa rice farmer para matapos na yung malaking usapan sa
I
rice
was going to
farmer.
support that.
Yes, okay. And then another question is that what I'm asking for, and I want to settle this once and for all. You submitted the hybrid producing towns so that we will eliminate it from the inbred seed rice producing towns. Yung gumagamit ng inbred seed, iba doon sa hybrid. So you have your program, baka kasi meron kayo sa seeds na malaki dito sa inyong rice resiliency program. Magkano ba yung seeds nyo dito? It's how much dito sa rice resiliency program? Yung banner program nyo, ilan ang sa seeds? Sa rice resiliency program.
Madam Chair,
yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you very much to the senators.
Kasi dalawang nagbibigay ng seeds, yung RCEP, ang pinamimigay nun, inbred seed. Ang budget nila doon, 3B a year. Now you have a rice resiliency program, a rice program, a banner program, you have a budget of 15 billion. So, magkano ba ibibigay nyo sa seeds at pinamimigay nyo hybrid seeds, di ba? Oh. Para malinaw tayo, maintindihan nila na dalawang klase ang seeds, hybrid and inbred seed. Ang pinamimigay ng RCEP ng field rice is inbred seed kasi sila nagdiskubre noon. Ngayon kayo, pinamimigay nyo hybrid seed. So, nagbigay kayo ng listahan ng binibigyan nyo ng hybrid seeds. Oh, so, hindi na yon isasama sa inbred seeds, di ba? Oh. So, magkano ba budget nyo sa hybrid?
Madam Chair, for the hybrid, the budget is 5,483,568.
Oh, so 5 billion. So you have chosen the places where you will give hybrid seeds, hindi ba? Tentatively,
right,
yeah. Tentatively, you said it's I listed Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, Zambales, Region 4B, Palawan, Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, Region 7, Region 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Those are the regions you have chosen to give hybrid seeds. So pag ito pinilit nyo, hindi na natin to bibigyan ng inbred seeds. Kasi
You are
kayo na
precisely right,
magbibigay.
Madam Chair.
Oo, kasi ang budget lang ng inbred seed is 3 billion. You have a more than 5 billion budget for hybrid.
Correct,
What is the
Madam Chair. And
exact
the 3
amount?
billion amount will be covering 1 million hectares approximately, Madam Chair, for the
Oh,
of
ano
the
yung
RC.
budget nyo sa hybrid? 5 point?
For the seeds, ma'am, 5.483,566 billion, Madam Chair.
5 point, parang 5.483 billion. Okay?
Yes, Madam
So,
Chair.
I wish we will do a list na alam nung ano ang bibigyan nila ng inbred at alam nyo rin kung ano bibigyan nyo ng hybrid kasi mas malaki naman ang budget nyo doon sa inbred seed ng RCEP. Di ba? Oo.
Actually, Madam Chair, we submitted the specific municipalities and
Yeah,
provinces
but
covering both hybrid.
oo, we
And
will
following your instruction, Madam Chair, we will tag them.
kasi
not only
napansin
that,
ko lang lahat ng malaki ang production, yun ang kinuha nyo. Is that coincidence? Pinili nyo yung the biggest rice producing provinces in the Philippines. You chose Nueva Ecija, Isabela, Pangasinan, Cagayan. Oh, yun ang pinili nyo eh. Oo.
Madam Chair, tama po kayo as
Tarlac,
per
North
your...
Cotabato. Pinili nyo na yung pinakamagagaling eh. Iiwanan nyo yata sa peel rice ang pinaka mahihina, di ba? Is that a coincidence o tama ba yon?
Madam Chair, hindi po siya coincidental. Meron po tayong naging basis. And in fact, we follow your instruction that those that are less competitive, we
Okay.
help
So
improve high
we
yielding.
will review that and we will have a final list of what provinces and towns will be given by field rice ng inbred seed and what will be the provinces and towns that will be given hybrid seeds para maliwanag tayo dyan. Another is your budget for fertilizer. What is your budget for fertilizer? Dun sa
Madam
rice
Chair,
resiliency mo.
Madam Chair, thank you very much po. For the hybrid, we have 3,501,230. For the inbred cluster outside of the RCEP, we have 224,457. And for the RCEP inbred for provision, we also have 2,680,390.
Can you submit me a breakdown of that? Kasi wala dito.
We will be very happy to submit to you. And in fact,
Now,
Madam Chair, may
I
sinabit na
want,
po
kasi
kami.
tiningnan ko yung, one of my advocacy is ask the people to produce their own organic fertilizer. And I noticed that ito sa Bureau of Soil and Water Management na nag-i-implement niya, binagsak niyo yung budget. Oo. So I want you from 1.6 billion naging 596 million. So I want you to provide for those composters. Kasi ako naniniwala that towards the long run, we should encourage our farmer to produce their own organic fertilizer. And ang maganda dito, this is good for the soil because 38% of the soil are degraded. And ang sabi ng World Health Organization, ng World Food Organization, o yung FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, how they solve the degradation of the soil. They said compost all your waste and bring them back to the soil. So I'm really promoting the composting para maging maganda ang ating soil. But unfortunately, yung Bureau of Soil and Water Management, you cut the budget from 1.6 billion to 596 billion. Parang 2/3 of the budget were removed. Sinasadya ba to na hindi i-promote yung
Madam Chair,
composter?
actually, the department and the secretary is in line with your guidance. In fact, Madam Chair, the secretary mentioned to us that healing the soil, management of the soil, and maintaining the what we call data from the soil is part of it. And as you mentioned, Madam Chair, the Secretary fully support that what they call composting that will be for the organ. Unfortunately, Madam Chair, that proposal of 1 point something billion was not given to us. Yan lang po naibigay ng DBM, Madam Chair.
Edi wala nang ano, ipakita nyo sa akin na ipopromote pa rin yung composting with this budget. The budget was
Yes, Madam.
cut into two-thirds of the budget was cut. So, hindi mo pwede sabihin na pinopromote mo to tapos ganito gagawin mo sa budget. Parang...
Madam Chair, whatever was given to us po,
i-revise nyo yung tong budget na to. This is just a proposal. So, I want you to revise this budget. Hindi pwede yung ikakat nyo yung budget ng Bureau of Soil and Water Management. Sinabi na nga sa atin, 38% of the soil are degraded. Tapos and how do you solve the degradation of the soil? Composting. But ang dami-dami yung budget sa fertilizer, sa inorganic fertilizer. Ayaw yung bigyan ng chance yung organic fertilizer na mag-improve sa bansang ito. Parang mali naman yun. Samantalang hindi naman popular yung fertilizer na yan. Palaging may fertilizer scam. Di bawasan nyo yan at encourage nyo yung mga tao na gumawa ng sarili nilang fertilizer para nababawasan ang fertilizer scam.
Yes, Madam Chair, we will. Tapos
gusto nyo ba? Alam nyo, ako talaga, nagalit sa akin na hindi ko inimbestiga yung fertilizer scam. Kasi sabi ni Digong, okay na daw yun. Kaya hindi na ako kumibo. Pero pala, lahat tuwing magbibili ng fertilizer may scam. Tapos, hindi na nga kami nakibo, babawasan nyo pa yung aming composting. Ito, maganda to kasi mag-i-improve ang quality of the soil, libre na ang fertilizer kasi ang mga farmer matututong gumawa ng sarili nilang fertilizer. And this is good for waste management. Mababawasan yung problema natin sa waste management. Kami kasi sa aming bayan, sa Las Piñas, we recycle how many? 80% of our waste. And 50% of that are organic fertilizer, yung biodegradable. So, yung expenses ng aming bayan para magtapon ng basura, nabawasan ng 80%. 2/3, 75%. 3/4.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Ba't ayaw nyo yan? Ba't ayaw nyo yan?
Ma'am, we will follow po, and on top of the what we call Bureau of Soils, meron din po kaming ibang provision sa National Organic Agriculture, Madam Chair. But we will follow
nila sa Bureau of Soil yun Kasi nga, pinag-ihiwa-hiwalay yung budget, hindi na namin makita Liton-liton na kami
Okay, Madam Chair, we will adjust.
You show this, hindi pwede to. Mag-revise tayo ng budget dito. Kawawa naman yung Bureau of Soil. Siya na nga lang naggagawa ng organic fertilizer. 2/3 pa ng budget, inalis nyo. Siguro hindi popular sa inyo. Mas gusto nyo yung bumili ng inorganic fertilizer. Palagi naman kayo na-i-scam doon. But gustong-gusto nyo yun.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So that's one of the changes that we want in the budget, yung mag-provide ng pagbili ng composter to be distributed by the Bureau of Soil and Water Management, and then we will revise the BFAR budget so that the hatcheries the legislated hatcheries will be implemented, okay? And then we will be able to disaggregate yung mga towns na bibigyan ng hybrid seeds at yung mga towns na bibigyan ng inbred seeds. Can you list it down so you will not forget? So we will not endorse the budget without these changes, okay?
And you are right, Madam Chair, just to inform the body, it is the instruction po ng Secretary other than tagging, lahat po ng nasa program po natin ng RCEP, they will be actually executing MOA to us that within the duration of the program, they will not be shifting with the actual program po, Madam Chair.
Okay. So another would be the next. So are there any question in the RICE program from the senators? So we will move on to the other programs. We'll go to
Madam,
yes,
Madam Chair.
Secretary,
Yes.
Senator Kiko, yes.
Yes, on the rice program, ma'am, just a question sa Secretary. With your permission, ma'am.
Yes, you go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Secretary Willie, itong March 2020, sabi ng NEDA na meron silang expectation na bababa na ang presyo ng bigas sa merkado. In fact, ang figurang sinabi nila ay 34 pesos per kilo this year, ibig sabihin 2020. And this was said in March 2020. So far, ang August to September 2020 retail prices ng well-milled at regular milled ay pumapalo ng anywhere between 42 pesos sa well-milled at 37 at 38 pesos per kilo sa regular. Sa pag-aaral ho ba ng NFA at ng inyong tanggapan, Secretary, yung projected decrease sa retail prices ng rice, base sa rice certification, kailan ho natin maaabot yun? Based on the NEDA findings as well as your own, Secretary.
Opo, this is the monitoring that have been done in regard to monthly retail prices of regular milled rice from 2017 up until August of 2020, Madam Chair, Senator Kiko. Noong 2017, ang presyo ng bigas din ay nasa 38 pesos per kilo. Ito yung regular milled rice. Tapos nung Agosto, Setyembre, Oktubre ng 2018, di ba, na may kakulangan. So umakyat sa 45.57 pesos average. Now from there, marami ng pagbaba ng rice prices at nung end of 2019 ay nasa 36.16 pesos. Now dito ang latest average po by August this year ay 37.84 pesos. Now if you look at the whole reduction, bumaba talaga significantly as a result of the rice tariffication law.
Although, as you said, noong 2018, it was 45. Before that, it was 37. So, in other words, noong 2018, before the rice crisis, it was almost the same figure as now, 37 pa rin. So, it still has to go down, hindi po ba? Kasi bumaba siya dahil sumobra nga ang taas noong 2018. Pero kung ikukumpara natin sa 2017 prices, hindi pa siya masyadong malayo. Bumaba ng kaunti pero hindi yun sa expected ng NEDA. At siyempre, nung ating economic managers. How do we bring it down to 34, for example? Ano ang inyong formula in terms of the production side and the supply side?
The formula, Mr. Chairman, is RCEP. So the next 5-6 years more ay sana very competitive na and very productive ng mga rice farmers natin para sa ganon ay mas magampanan pa rin natin yung being competitive at mas mababa na ang presyo ng bigas sa merkado.
Yes, and earlier nabanggit ninyo, ang landed cost ng imported rice ngayon ay 20 pesos. Ang ating per kilo yon, 20 pesos per kilo, landed cost ng imported rice. Ang bentahan natin ng regular milled rice ngayon ay 37 pesos. So ibig sabihin, yung imported, halos 100% ang patong at kikita siya. Pinasok niya ng 20 pesos. That's what they are competing with. Hindi po ba, Secretary? Yung ganong klaseng landed cost per kilo. Yan ang ating, yes.
Madam Chair, let me make some clarification here. Yung landed ay hindi pa nakasama yung logistics, at saka yung taripa. So idagdag lahat po yon, nasa 27-28 po.
But landed, yes, I would like to add, because if you compute that our cost of producing rice in the Philippines is 12, then you divide by 0.65 kasi 'di ba pag minil mo at ginawa mong rice, you will mawawala yung 35%, parang lalabas yun 23-24, 'di ba? 12 divided by 0.65 yata is 24. Or hindi, yung bili natin, halimbawa 15, 17 times 0.65 is, kasi ang tubo is 17. Kasi kung may 5 pesos na tubo yung farmer, 17 divided by 0.65 is ano yan 25. So mas mahal pa rin do sa landed cost. Diba?
Yes, at yung landed cost kasama yung freight.
Oo.
So it's cheaper.
Talaga ang intention natin, ibaba yung 12 to something like 8 or 7. Para
Tama po.
pag kahit sumubo sila at dinivide, minil into rice, pareho pa rin tayo sa Vietnam, di ba? Para hindi na worth it na mag-import, kundi dito na lang bibili sa atin kasi competitive na tayo. The intention of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund is to bring the cost of producing rice to 8 or 7.
Yes.
Hindi naman kailangan pumareho tayo sa Vietnam. Ang Vietnam is 6. Ang Thailand is 8. Basta 7 or 8, okay na tayo kasi we can sell the palay at a lower cost pero same ang income, and then mumura ang bigas, di ba? Yun ang intention ng Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. But of course, it will take time to be in effect, kaya we're giving them 6 years. In the meantime, lahat ng excess sa tariff, ipamigay na lang natin na cash assistance to them to tide them over until maging competitive sila. Diba? Yun ang intention of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund.
Madam Chair.
Ma'am, if I may just add one scenario, ma'am. Ito, paano nakatipid yung pamalang lokal sa Pampanga dahil sila mismo ang bumili ng palay sa mga magsasaka at 19 pesos, ibig sabihin mas mataas ng 2 piso, tapos sila ang gumiling, sila ang nagmill, at dahil sila ang nagmill, nakatipid pa sila nung dami nung benta ng bigas kasi mas mura sa paggiling nila kaysa sa wet market. And in the end, nakadagdag pa sila ng 3 kilo per family ng ayuda ng bigas kasi nakatipid sila. Ganun ho ang mangyayari kapag fully operational na ho yung Competitiveness Enhancement Fund at tama yung suporta. Talagang babagsak ang presyo.
Kaya tumataas dahil mas malaki ang kita nung private kaysa sa public, di ba? Oo. Kaya tumataas. Oo. Kasi may effect pa rin yung cartel. May effect pa rin yung cartel, di ba? Hindi pa natin naalis.
Hindi commensurate yung bagsak ng presyo ng palay dun sa bagsak ng presyo ng bigas. Kasi malaki pa rin ang kita nung yung trader. Yun ho.
Hindi natin talaga, kaya it's really a struggle na yung trader makontrol natin na they will price rice at a reasonable price. Kumikita naman sila, nasosobrahan lang yung kita nila.
Sobra lang. Opo.
Thank you for that clarification, Secretary. Maraming salamat, Madam Chairperson.
Madam Chair, natanong na ba yung ACPC?
Sige, magtanong ka, Amy.
Hindi po kasi yung ACPC was budgeted 2.6 billion for loans. Wala naman tayo nakikitang breakdown o kung ano yung mga allocation for each program. At kasama dyan yung sikat saka ni Senator Kiko. Ano ba talaga itong mga credit programs?
So,
Abala po ako dito kasi yung ACPC, kasama yata dyan yung expanded sure aid na pinasok rin sa Bayanihan 2 at may karagdagan pang 2.5B. Okay ba yung mga programang yan? Hindi pa natin nakikita yung performance ng loan portfolio ng mga yan.
Madam Chair,
okay.
Yes.
can I answer, Madam Chair? Yeah, tama po na yung 2.5 billion na budget ng ACPC this year ay kasama dun sa parte ng social amelioration support program natin dito sa COVID. At ang ganda po ng programa na ito, ang dalawang aspeto ang pinupunduhan, yung mga marginalized farmers and fisherfolk na pautang ay 25,000, zero interest at payable in 10 years. The other component is for the micro and small enterprises. So ang ganda po, this is one of the more popular loan programs ng gobyerno, and that's why we are continuing it under Bayanihan 2.
Yes, our concern was, anong performance niyan? Nagbabayad ba yan?
Well, bago po lang, this is just a new program. And for previous programs, we will submit, Madam Chair, the performance of all the ACPC programs.
Yeah, perhaps we could get more information, request for information na lang, Madam Chair, kasi hindi pa natin naririnig. Ano yung breakdown dyan? Maraming nakalista riyan, yung expanded sure, sure aid, capital access, sikat saka, agrarian product, etc., etc. So if you can just see the breakdown.
May we move
We'll
that
give
the Department of Agriculture will submit a briefer on all this credit program of the Department of Agriculture. That
We will
will
do that, Madam.
include everything. Oh, sige.
Opo.
Okay.
Maraming salamat. Isama na rin ninyo, nakatanggap na ba kayo ni isang kusing pa ba sa Bayanihan 2?
Wala pa po.
Wala pang dumarating eh.
Mag-expire na yan December 19, di ba? December
Ayun na tayo
19.
nakakatakot. Wala pa raw dumarating sa DA.
Nakasubmit po pero wala pang dumating po.
Siguro yung isa pang tanong ko sa Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority, kasi ang sinasabi ng SINAG at yung iba't iba pang farmers group sa Region 1 and 2 dito sa atin, Apo Secretary, yung overpricing, marami pa silang mga resibo at ang sabi nila, hindi daw yung agriculture ang naribot, ang naribot daw yung fertilizer scam. Ano po ang ginawa ng DA tungkol dyan? Na-imbestiga na ba yan? Dahil may budget na naman na i-release dyan eh.
Madam
The
Chair,
budget is
and-
6.4 billion. 6.4.
Yeah, Madam Chair, let me answer, Madam Chair, briefly. Walang katotohanan na may corruption, walang irregularidad at lahat po yung documents ay intact at ngayon ay mas mababa na yung mga fertilizers. Ang detalya si Ariel Yusek.
Yung breakdown po kasi at yung mga resibo ng pagbenta, mas mataas yung pagbili di hamak ng DA kesa sa pagbili namin dito ng retail na tingi-tingi. Kaya nagtataka po kami.
Madam Chair, number 1 po, thank you very much, Madam Chair, for recognizing. Number 1 po, ang naging basis po natin ng ating ceiling price or ABC are the average prices taken from the authority which no other than FTA. Per month po yun, para mas surgical po tayo. Number 2, we drill down hindi lang po region hanggang probinsya po. And lastly, everybody was invited, all these suppliers to participate, and so many times nag-fail po siya kasi nga po ay hindi po pumapasa. And lastly, Madam Chair, ibinaba na po natin sa mga munisipyo tsaka po sa probinsya, and all they have to do is just to reimburse, ay ganun pa rin po ang mga presyong lumalabas, Madam Chair. Thank you.
But hindi na lang, I want to I want to recognize now, unmute ko, na-mute ko. I want to recognize Senator Subiri You can ask question after this. I just want to, ba't hindi nyo i-up na lang yan na voucher na lang ang ibibigay nyo, hindi na fertilizer. Recognize kayo ng supplier, tapos you give voucher. Parang ganun ang ginawa na rin sa seeds na hindi na physical distribution, kundi voucher na lang para mas madali sa mga farmer at sigurado. Ba't hindi nyo i-computerize yan na ibigay na lang na something that they can claim?
Madam Chair, that is now the ongoing way to distribute. We have now used the digitalization technology, ma'am. Wala nang bidding, DBP handles that. So lahat po, wala nang kalukuhan talaga, wala.
Sana i-ano nyo yan kasi palagi na lang issue yan eh. Di ba yung fertilizer, palaging issue yan.
Oo, Trelic na po. Kung maaari, hingi lang ako ng investigative report ninyo kasi ang papeles po na binigay ng mga magsasaka sa amin, ng sinag, ng iba't ibang grupo, ganyan din kadami. Sana may pansagot rin kami.
Opo, we will give you all everything.
Okay. So we recognize our majority floor leader, Mick Subiri, to ask questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, unang-una, magandang umaga, Madam Chair. Magandang umaga sa aking mga kasamaan, Senator Kiko and Senator Amy. As well as Secretary Dar, good morning po. At sa mga kasama mo sa department, good morning, sir.
Good morning po.
On the onset, of course, I'd like to say that I'm fully supportive of the budget of the DA. There are just some pressing concerns that I would like to take up, especially sa ating mga magsasaka who are really struggling now. Sec, medyo hirap na hirap sila. As I mentioned to you the last time, the plummeting prices of their produce. I'm sure na take up na ng ating mga kasamahan yung sa palay.
No, we have,
Yes.
Senator Subiri, we have passed a resolution that everything beyond 10 billion sa rice, sa tariff collection will be given as financial assistance to all farmers owning 1 hectare and below.
Tama yun. That's a very good idea.
Ngayon na, it's parang forever until 2025. Para hindi
Good.
natin
Para
every
makatulong sa
time
kanila.
na meron magpapas ng resolution, palalagay natin na parang batas na it will be given as financial assistance to rice farmers. Okay.
Sana ma-implement talaga, ma'am. Alam mo naman, magagaling yung idea natin. Pero pagdating sa implementation,
we will try to implement this time kasi may sobra ng 3 billion eh. So we will implement by December sana. Pagtulungan natin na ma-facilitate na ma-implement before Christmas. Sige.
para naman pag-ikot po natin, Madam Chairman, may magsasabi talaga na nabigyan ako ng ayuda galing sa pondong iyon. Kasi so far wala pa po akong napapakinggan.
Nagbigay na sila before. Pero before this happened, I think in 2019 meron. Pero ngayon, we'll give another.
That's why we're thankful that we have champions like yourself together with Senator Kiko who really fight for the rights of and the needs of our rice farmers. We really thank you for that. I'm here actually now speaking on behalf of the corn farmers. Kami naman ay dito sa Bukidnon, alam mo naman, Secretary, Bukidnon is one of the largest producers of corn. Kakompetensya namin ang Isabela. We also have a big rice corn producing industry in Bukidnon. And I remember I reached out to you one time, Secretary, about the importation of feed wheat. The importation of feed wheat, which actually drastically brought down the price of corn. Yung dried corn, umaabot na ng 9 pesos. Can you imagine? 9 pesos per kilo. Napakababa. Meron pang 8 pesos per kilo. Ano na po yan? MC14. That's a moisture content 14. That's already feed grade. Napakababa. And I recall sending you the details. Meron na ba tayong nagawang mga hakbang, Sec, para matulungan natin yung mga corn farmers? For the record po, kasi alam mo, I'm in Bukidnon now. I'm in Cagayan, Bukidnon boundary. I'm actually going to be in Bukidnon to meet with General Galvez, Secretary Galvez, on Tuesday for the IATF briefing on the increase on COVID cases in Northern Mindanao. So every time I go home po, the media there, the local media, pati yung farmers groups, they ask me, Sir, anong maitutulong niyo po sa amin? Napakabagsak ang presyo ng mais dito sa amin. At kawawa because there's a bumper crop. We have a very good crop now. Maraming nakaani ng record number. Pero yung presyo, bagsak naman po. Wala naman po silang merkado.
Ano?
Do we have any steps, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, but Sir Secretary, on what we can do for them?
Madam Chair, Mr. Senator Migs, can I be given the floor?
Yes, please, sir. Please, sir. Go ahead po.
Madam Chair, let me highlight yung mga measures or actions taken in connection with the falling prices of corn. Nasabi ko na yata last time na mayroon kaming ugnayan with the Philippine Association of Feed Millers that represent around 70% of the country's feed millers, and they continue to buy local produce of corn up until now. By this time, they may have already bought about 200,000 metric tons of corn. On top of that, meron rin kaming ugnayan with San Miguel Corporation at nakabili na po rin sila ng 400,000 metric tons of corn. Now, in the another measure po ay the other day we had the Land Bank Board of Directors meeting at prinopose ko po doon yung opening of a credit facility for corn buying by the provincial governments or even any LGU for that matter. At aprobado na po ito. So this is one new facility that the corn farmers in the future can access to. Yung mayroon ng, I mean the provincial and municipal governments can now access the loan program from DBP to buy more corn. Now, in relation to the feed wheat importation vis-a-vis yellow corn, mayroon kami ng institutionalized na management strategy not to really bring feed wheat during the main harvest of corn. There are two main harvests during the year, and so that management strategy is now put in place.
I'm happy to hear, Secretary, before you proceed, I'm happy to hear that kasi ano lang naman yan, common sense lang yan, Secretary, sa atin, no? Because it's actually market driven. So when we harvest, definitely there'll be a bumper crop. Pag mag-import po tayo, talagang bagsak ang presyo. So tama yun, Sec, I'm glad that you imposed that and I hope that we can follow through with that with your the importers. They can't import without the permits coming from the Bureau of Plant Industry. So isang sabi mo lang yan, Secretary, ma-monitor natin. Hindi na sila maka-import at that time, at that particular time. I'm not averse totally on importation, pero yung timing lang, you're absolutely correct on the timing. Can we have the assurance, Sec, that you'll instruct the BPI on that?
I will definitely and personally monitor this.
Thank you very much,
Madam
Secretary.
Chair and Senator Migs. Now, on top of that, mayroon tayo rin out of Bayanihan 2, cash and food assistance na ang kasama dito po ay corn farmers, the fisher folk, at ang kasama doon sa cash and financial assistance, cash and food assistance ay 3,000 cash, yung 2,000 bibigay in the form of rice, and the 1,000 ay ibibigay in the form of chicken or eggs so that ma-prop up din yung industry natin. So kasama po sila sa ayuda ito, yung mga corn farmers. So marami pong the way forward in the next year po, ang gagawin po natin talaga yung clustering and organizing them into cooperatives para
Tama po yan, Sec.
mas-
Tama po yan.
Opo. And putting up of the corn processing facilities pag naorganisa na po itong mga corn farmers. Yun po, asa po kayo na ganun po ang direction namin.
Can I have that written lang, Secretary, to my office? Pwede yung mga hakbang na binanggit mo, parang i-comprehensive natin, comprehensive lineup of measures for the corn farmers. Kung okay lang, Sec, you can write our office or write the Secretary or the Chairman of the committee. Para sa ganun, meron din po ako kaisagot sa mga nagtatanong sa akin whenever I go around Mindanao. At least I can tell them the steps that the DA is taking. Parang ako na rin ang naging spokesperson mo, Sec. So, magandang makatulong din po ako kaysa wala po tayong maisagot. Mas maganda na officially it is all written down to the chairperson so that we also can be guided and follow through later on eventually. Okay lang, Sec?
We will do that, Madam Chair, Senator Migs. By all means, we'll do that.
Thank you very much, Secretary. I'll wait for that. I'll wait for that. Also, going to another industry that is very, very prevalent in Mindanao are the poultry growers and the hog raisers. I mentioned that also in our last hearing. Again, it's unscrupulous traders who do technical smuggling. And I know in one of the hearings you mentioned that na tinanong po ni Chairman Villarian. At ang banggit mo sa kanya, talaga napakahirap minsan mag-monitor nitong technical smuggling. Ang nangyayari kasi, of course, the poultry and hog raisers are complaining of low prices because of import dumping. So, ang nangyayari, I'm sure you're familiar with this setup, the illegal imports compete with our local chicken by, for example, mechanically deboned po siya, Madam Chair, Chicken meat is actually allowed to be imported by food processors kung gagawa po sila na parang luncheon meat na local, ganyan. Pwede po ipasok yung mechanically deboned chicken. However, ang nangyayari, unscrupulous importers, hinahalo po nila ng imported choice cuts and imported choice meat cuts, tapos declared as deboned for processing. So nangyayari itong meat cuts, makikita nyo po yan sa mga malalaking grocery, malalaking supermarket. Of course, they evade taxes, tariffs, duties. In the end, yung poultry producers po natin at hog producers and other livestock growers are prevented from selling larger volumes to household consumers and food processors because of this technical smuggling. Kawawa naman po. In other countries, they protect their industries. You cannot do that in the United States. It is next to impossible to bring in. Kasi tinanong ko din yung mga producers dito, local. But ayaw naman natin mag-import, mag-export. Sabi nila, pagdating naman dun sa ibang bansa, napakahigpit din po ang phytosanitary permits. Ang Amerika po talagang hindi mo maibebenta ito mga produktong ito sa kanilang mga merkado. At tayo naman, we're being dumped, illegally dumped by these products. Sec, ano po mga hakbang na magagawa po natin para dyan? Kawawa naman po. Bukidnon is home of hundreds of poultry producers and they're employing tens of thousands of my kababayans, my province mates. Not only Bukidnon, pati Batangas, pati Misamis Oriental, pati Ilocos meron, pati Central Luzon, napakarami. Natamaan na sila ng ASF, tapos they have to deal pa with technical smuggling. Ano pong mga steps na ginagawa po natin, Sec, para at least masagot ko din because they write me on a weekly basis asking me for help?
Madam Chair, Senator Migs, alam ninyo kung smuggling yan ay talagang hirap sugpuin at it needs the whole of nation approach. And we are always there. Nandyan naman ang mga tauhan namin. Kung ibibigay lahat yung manifest, ay arrival manifest, ay magagampanan po namin na ma-inspect lahat yan. Mas lalo na ito ay yung may import clearances. Ang hirap yung walang dokumento. So that's the hardest thing to do. I don't know, I have no bullet answer for technical smuggling, but kung smuggle sa akin, very simple policy, confiscate. Kung walang dokumento, confiscate palagi ang aming response. Kasi that's really smuggling. So ganun lang po ang ginagawa po namin. Number two, sana din pagbigyan kami ng kunting budget sa intelligence. Wala kaming intelligence against anti-smuggling budget. Mayroon kaming intelligence pero walang budget.
Ba't hindi kayo maglagay ng budget sa inyong intelligence?
Opo, ma'am. We will do that
It's a
na po.
matter of prioritizing eh. Alam mo, I never believed na malaking budget. It's the way you use your budget. Are you using your budget efficiently? That's the question. Oo. Kasi hindi naman tayo pwede hingi ng budget kasi alam nyo naman may problema rin tayo na may recession tayo, hindi malaki ang available funds natin. But how we will use the budget is but hindi mo na lang i-allow yung importation ng mechanical deboned sa mga processor. Hindi pwede yung trader. Kasi I think yung mga processor, hindi sila mag-i-smuggle. Kasi may mga name na mga kumpanya yan eh. Pero yung mga trader mag-i-smuggle. So why not limit it to the processor, di ba? Kasi kung processor ka naman na kumikita ka sa business mo, hindi mo gagawin yung yung mag-smuggle ng ibang bagay, dadalhin mo sa market. I mean,
actually, Madam Chair, no, tama po yung sinabi mo kasi kung kukuha pa sila, bibigyan po yung permit sa trader. Yung trader, magte-technical smuggling yan. Bibigyan tayo sa processor.
Pero yung processor, kasi ang income nila nagagaling doon sa processing nila, hindi sila magte-technical smuggling to earn more.
Sa traders?
Hindi po, sir. Sa process.
Pero registered po lang.
Okay, ma'am. We will strengthen yung pamimigay ng import clearance
Sa processor.
Consolidate that to the processors. Para
Sa mga trader. Kasi yung trader, kikita na sila mag-supply sa processor, kukita pa sila on the side. Pero kung processor yon, ano naman ang nila na magsa-sideline pa sila sa pagte-technical smuggling. Parang lalo na yung mga main processors natin, they really make money on their business, not in doing technical smuggling. So, kikita nyo yung pagbibigay ng permit, yung business permit. Kasi katulad nun, bibigay sa mga cooperative. Tapos hindi naman yung mga cooperative ang front lang sila do sa mga trader. Siguro yung mga blacklisted trader, yun ang pino-front yung mga cooperative. Pag-igihin nyo yung pagpili ng trader, yung mga naglulukong trader na nagpapahirap sa atin, wag nyo na bigyan ng i-blacklist nyo yun.
We will do that.
Blacklist kayo. Bantayan mo, sekretary, yung BPI mo na hirap na tayo, lahat na lang nagko-complain, ba't pa tayo pinahihirapan ng ganyan, di ba?
Oo nga, ma'am. Actually, nagawa na po natin. Nagawa na po natin yan sa sugar industry, di ba? Sa sugar industry, nag-direct importing na we allow direct importation to Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and allocations from abroad. So, yun na lang siguro pwede natin gawin kaysa ibigay po natin sa mga traders. Tama po si Chairperson Villar kasi nalalabas po nailalabas po nila at yan ang nakakahinayan ng loob. Actually, Sec, if you have your people just inspect, and I agree with you, Sec, I will make a motion later on na dagdagan yung intelligence funds ninyo para pwede po kayo, you can strengthen your inspection service. Kasi if you go to the big groceries, the big ones, I will not anymore name names kasi para wala na tayong problema. Inspeksyonin nyo lang po yung mga hita, yung mga paa, yung mga pecho, imported lahat. Hindi dapat pwedeng ibenta o imported. Dapat processor lang po yan para hindi na makawawa yung ating mga producers ng the Davao region, the Ilocos region, Central Luzon, and of course Northern Mindanao. So ito, Sec, I have a copy here. We have to be very careful because this is like a certification. I think I sent this to your email, to your WhatsApp. Certification of meat inspection of imported meat for domestic distribution. Ito po ay galing sa National Meat Inspection Service. This is to certify that the following meat importer, Atkins Import and Export from Belgium, is found apparently fit for human consumption. Ito po yung mga drumlets, wings, drumstick. Ito po dapat para sa processor, di ba? Pero itong naipapasok po nila na ilalabas po at binebenta sa mga wet markets at ibinebenta po sa mga grocery. Kawawa naman po ang ating mga producers, Sec. So, I am with you. I know that your capability of inspecting, kasi as you said, technical smuggling could be a result of the Bureau of Customs not maybe doing their job enough. Pero madali lang po yan. Pag nahanap mo itong mga produktong ito, Sec, that are being sold in these markets, illegally sold yun. That means they're technical smuggling. At the very least, they should pay the right taxes.
We
And
will do
then
that,
blacklist them, di ba?
Opo, we will.
Bigyan ng import permit. And then, tingin ko pinaka-safe, yung mga processor, yun ang bigyan ng import permit. Kasi hindi nila business yung mag-smuggle. Sila, kailangan lang nila raw material sa kanilang kumpanya.
We will
Hindi.
do that immediately. We will do that immediately po.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sec. Ano lang naman to, Sec, hindi po to criticism, ha? Tulong lang ito. We're just here to help kasi whenever we go around, syempre kami din ang...
We are always open, Madam Chair, Senator Migs. Lahat po ng ideas ninyo magaganda, we will implement.
Thank you, Sec. Tulong lang naman po ito. We're just trying to help. We want to improve the DA. You know, that DA is very close to my heart. As I said, the last hearing, we're all agriculturists at heart. Yung finally, Madam Chair, finally, unless gustong pumasok po si Senator Bong, pero mabilis
Madam
po
Chair,
ako. I could finish lang my
Yes.
line of questioning.
Madam Chair, with the permission of Sen. Migs, kadugtong lang nung usapin sa smuggling.
Opo.
Madam Chair and Sen. Migs, siguro ang nagiging isang problema din kasi hanggang ngayon wala pang napakukulong na big time smuggler. Kaya siguro talagang hindi sila natatakot dahil alam nila they can get away with it.
Yeah.
So siguro kailangan yun yung isa natin tutukan na dapat may masample na naman tayo whether it's rice or galunggong or corn. Dapat talaga makita na nasusunod yung batas.
Hindi ba nahuli na hindi pa rin na prosecute yung rice smuggler, si Bangay. Diba? Wala rin nangyari, diba?
Bangayan.
I think Senator Go would also like to respond before I move to another topic.
Yeah.
Senator Bong, you want to say something before I move to another topic?
I-recognize Senator Bongo. Okay.
Salamat, Madam Chair. Kumusta na yung mga smuggler, Secretary Dar? Yung sa sila Bangayan. Di ba hinahanap ni Pangulo yon? Buhay pa yon? Buhay pa ba? Buhay pa ba?
May Senate hearings na naganap noon pa si Madam Chair yata pa nag-chair. So ngayon,
nagpunta na sa DOJ yun Wala na sa amin Endorsed to DOJ Sinabihan pa nga ako na wag ka na mag-hearing. Pag pumunta yan sa DOJ, wala ring mangyayari.
Patunayan mo, Secretary Dar, ubusin mo mga yan.
Dapat may masampulan, Senbong. Alam mo, Senbong, dapat talaga may masampulan na smuggler para matakot sila.
Ubusin mo yan. Patunayan mo, Secretary Dar, with 1 year and 8 months na lang po natitira sa presidente. Patunayan mo yun.
With your help, Madam Chair, Senator Bong, Senator Migs, we will do that.
Busin natin.
That could be your legacy, Sec. Actually, that could be your legacy when the term of the president ends, na meron talagang nakasuhan na smuggler during the time of President Digong Duterte. I think that would be a very good legacy under your watch also sa DA. You will be heavily applauded by everyone. I promise you, Sec.
Well, we cannot do the job alone. I have mentioned that. Ang nandyan nakatuka na equally important na partner po natin ay Bureau of Customs. Ay yun po, dapat tulong-tulong po kami lahat.
Yes. Siguro tulungan na lang ni Senator Bong i-follow up sa kay Secretary sa DOJ. Secretary
DOJ.
Maynard.
Nasa DOJ na yan eh.
Kay Secretary Maynard Sanbong, baka pwede nang sa fiscal level mapailan na ng kaso. At least man lang, kung hindi makulong, mapailan na ng kaso. Para at least sila po ay mabigyan ng leksyon.
Tuluyan natin, Secretary. Tuluyan natin.
Meron tayong law na yung pinasa namin yung batas na yon, no, agricultural smuggling is economic sabotage and non-bailable.
Yes.
Oh, may batas tayong gano'n napasa namin yon nung last Congress. Agricultural smuggling is economic sabotage and non-bailable. Kaya mapailan lang ng kaso, hindi na pwedeng walang bail, nakakulong hanggang maka-clear sa kaso. At least yung time na kini-clear sa kaso, nakakulong. May batas na ganon,
Sen Nancy, Madam Chair, gusto yata magsalita sa Nancy. Go ahead, ma'am.
Sen
Cynthia,
Nancy.
pero wala pang nasasampulan dun sa batas
Kaya nga,
pinasa natin.
pinasa na nga namin yun eh. Wala pa rin. Oo, we will ask DOJ, sa hearing ng DOJ, natapos na ba hearing? Sa plenary ng DOJ, we will ask.
Sige, I will join you, Madam Chair. I will support you 100%. Talagang kailangan talaga masampulan ng isa kasi kung hindi, walang matatakot. And I know Sen Bong will be with us on that. Malaking issue to ng first 2 years yata ni Pangulong Duterte. That was a big issue for him and he made a commitment to really put these people to jail.
Naalala ko pa, Sen Migs, nung naging resource person si then Mayor Duterte sometime in 2013. Napag-usapan ko itong
That's my hearing. He came.
Pumunta po siya sa hearing ng Department of Agriculture. Anyway, Secretary Dar, magtulungan tayo dito. Tuluyan talaga natin itong mga to.
Opo, kasama po kami sa inyo. Wala pong problema.
Salamat.
Madam Chair, Senator Mig, may I just interject?
Sure.
Tanghali na, gutom na ako. Gusto kong gisahin si Secretary Dar. Anyway, I just want to express my support for the department with the permission of our colleagues lang po. Maikli lang po ito. Madam Chair, Secretary Dar, fellow colleagues, and resource persons present here today, I will not interpose any questions. I am here to manifest my full support to the budget of the Department of Agriculture, headed by Secretary William Dar, its banner programs, and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. The Department of Agriculture's 2021 budget trusts priorities and strategies support the vision of a food secure and resilient Philippines with the prosperous farmers and fisherfolk. I trust the department to stay true to its vision and continue their efforts in providing reprieve to our less fortunate farmers and fisherfolk and ensure production, availability, accessibility, and affordability, price stability, and of course, food safety. I laud the swift response of the Department of Agriculture to address the dismal effects of the ongoing pandemic. The department provided financial subsidy to more than 530 rice farmers. They have released and continue to release zero-interest loans to marginalized small farmers and fisherfolk and agri-based micro and small enterprises. In addition, they have extended support services, education, training, and agricultural equipment and facilities to our poverty-stricken farmers and fisherfolk. They provide in turn safeguarded our nation's food security, which is vital to each and everyone's sustenance. In addition to the passage of Bayanihan 2 has also empowered the department to further its efforts in assisting our farmers and fisherfolk during these trying times. The Bayanihan 2 directed the Land Bank of the Philippines and Development Bank of the Philippines to prioritize agri-fishery businesses and agricultural cooperatives, farmers, fisher folks, and other agricultural workers in the provision of low interest and flexible loans. In addition to an appropriation and standby fund of 24 billion pesos was allocated to assist our agricultural sector, I call on the department to safeguard and spend this appropriation judiciously. Kailangang unahin po natin ang pinakamahirap na magsasaka. Huwag po natin silang hayaang magutom. Bigyan po natin sila ng lahat ng kailangan nila para makabangon po muli. Nakikita ko po sa mga social media yung mga naghihirap nating mga kababayang magsasaka. Ang mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda po natin ay may tituring nating importanteng frontliners ng ating bansa. Kung wala po sila, wala tayong makakain sa araw-araw. Kung kaya't nakikiusap po ako sa inyo na gamitin ang budget ng maayos up to the last centavo. Para sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda, bukas po ang aking opisina para pakinggan kayo. Kung meron kayong nakikitang anomalya, ako mismo ang magko-call out sa mga bulok na opisyal na inuuna ang kanilang pangsariling interes bago ang interes ng bayan at ng Pilipino. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat, Madam Chair. Senator Zubiri Majo, salamat for allowing me to interject. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I respond?
Yeah. We recognize Secretary Dar.
Maraming salamat ulit, Madam Chair, Senator Bongo, and the others, Sen. Migs, Senator Nancy. Asa po kayo na kami po sa kagawaran ng pagsasaka ay ang interes lang po ng bayan, ang interes po namin. Ang serbisyo para sa bayan, kagaya po ninyo, ay ang serbisyo po namin gagawin. So we will fully do the best to make a real enhancement of food security for the country. So maraming salamat po sa iyong malaking suporta. At kami po ay nandito para sa Pangulo at para sa bayan. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. My last point.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Bong. Thank you. Sec, finally na lang, to an industry that's close to my heart. It's more technical actually. It's just more technical. The industry that's close to my heart is the sugar industry. Alam niyo naman po, I'm a fourth generation sugar man, coming from Kabangkalan, Negros Occidental. Our roots are from there. And yung ano lang po, some complaints have reached my office, and I just want you to look into this. May on the appointments of certain personnel sa SRA. Isa SRA Hermie there with us today, Madam Chair. Serafika.
Madam Chair, sa Monday po ang parte ng SRA to present the budget. Sa Monday
sa Monday pa. Okay, I can take this up, Chairman, on Monday na lang. No problem.
Salamat po.
Yeah, I
So
don't
what
want
is
to
the
badger you any
question?
longer.
What is the question?
Actually, ano lang po, Madam Chair, yung the appointments, there were appointments made by the board on the deputy administrators. At least para alam mo na rin, Chairman, on the deputy administrators. Apparently, out of I think the board of SRA is the one that approves or gives the certification or authorizes the appointment. Apat po sila, Madam Chair, si Secretary, si Hermie Serafika, si Dino Yulo, tsaka si Rolex Beltran. Apparently, the two board members, si Dino Yulo and Beltran, were not informed of the appointments. Pero pinapalabas ay they were appointed with the approval of the board. So, hindi po majority ng board yan. Madam Chair, kilala niyo naman si Sir Dino Yulo, kaibigan natin pareho. So, they're just questioning the propriety of the appointment of these two administrators, deputy administrators. Baka naman the secretary can look into it, and then on Monday, he can give us an answer. Maybe you can review the appointment, Secretary. Unless talaga mga bata mo yan, Secretary, na it will help, then I will convince them otherwise, Mr. Secretary. So I just want you to review sana because the complaint reached my office that there was this kind of appointments that were not, we did not have the full approval of the board. Yun lang po, Madam Chair, and I hope that we can discuss this on Monday if Fermi is around.
I
And we
want
can
to
ask them
add
about it.
also to that so that because the secretary has been here for only 1 year, di ba? Secretary.
Opo.
But we have really problem with SRA kasi alam mo, during the beginning of my term, I passed the SIDA law. That law is providing for 2 billion a year assistance to the sugar industry. But unfortunately, pag titingnan mo sa budget ngayon, 700 ngayon, di ba? Kasi yung nag-start ng 2 billion, hindi nila na-implement. Naging 1.5. Tapos nung 1.5, hindi pa rin na-implement, naging 1 billion. Nung 1 billion, hindi pa rin na-implement, naging 500 million. Ngayon na lang, kasi nagsasabi na kami na baka ma-implement na kasi at least yung 1 billion na infra, pumirma na sila ng ano sa DPWH na DPWH will implement, they will just what you call this, identify the places where the farm to mill road will be implemented. Yun ang problem namin dyan kasi nagkamali kami na binigay namin lahat sa SRA yung pera tapos hindi naman nila na-implement. If you can only Secretary study the SIDA law, may pupuntahan ng pera eh. I think 1 billion for farm to mill road, 300 million for credit sa land bank, 300 million for the black farm, that's the land reform beneficiaries, and another 300 million for farm improvement, and 100 million for scholarship. We're so unhappy with the SIDA law kasi walang na-implement and it has been going on for so many years to the point na bumagsak ang budget. Hindi naman namin ma-justify sa DBM na ibalik sa 2 billion kasi sabi nila hindi man na-implement hindi siguro kailangan ng pera. That's the problem with CDA, with the SRA. Kaya siguro you have to discuss this since you're the chairman of the board. You discuss it with them that we passed this law. We had a hard time. That is the first law I passed in my stint as a senator. I failed because they were not able to implement it. Ngayon, ang law ko, pag pinapas ko, iba-iba na
Madam Chair, let me
implemento.
correct, Madam Chair. You did not fail. You did not fail, ma'am. You had the best of intentions. Yung nag-failure dyan is the implementing agency, Madam Chair. I just like to
Nagkamali
put that on
ako
record.
kasi isinentralize ko yung implementation. Kaya, Secretary Dar, napapansin mo ngayon yung mga batas namin, pinipili na namin yung implementing agency para pag nag-fail lang isa, hindi nag-fail lahat, di ba? Para hati-hati ang trabaho, kung merong mag-succeed, hindi the whole program will fail. Kaya ganyan yung RCEP, ganyan yung ACEP, ganyan yung yung COCO bill, ganyan din eh. Pinaghiwa-hiwalay ang implementation kasi sa SRA sinentralize and then they failed to implement. Yun ang binibida ko sa iyo, Secretary. So you will be guided accordingly because I've been here for 7 years. You are on your 2nd year. So I know what happened to all of this. Kaya binibida
Sige
ko
po,
lang
ma'am.
sa iyo para for you to be guided accordingly para pag minamanage mo sila, yun ang problema nila, yung implementation.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am.